So hello and welcome to the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club with me, Matt Payne, and Emma Martin, who's here in the studio with me, and in fact, Indy the Trail Dog, who has joined us in the studio because he's so excited to see the team competition, dogs being pack animals and all that. He's decided that he's going to show these of ground team monthly finals. Emma, team week is a busy week for us. It's a all over the place compared to normal.
This is the Dragon Force first time. 36 meters of climbing. If you compare that to last week's, and the through the Kyoto sprint, and then they drop down. They transition to the first climb of the day, two categorized climbs. The first one, 1.7 kilometers with an average gradient of 4.7%. Then they come through and down a huge flat transition section on the course today. Tokyo sprint, they go through that twice before the descent. Yep, into the final climb at 34.4 kilometers. This final one, 1.8 kilometers, but that gradient, it's breathing fire. 9.1% average gradient, that final climb to the finish line. Good riders.
Thing to me is that both these categorized climbs very similar in length. 1.7k for the Sakura climb, it's almost double the gradient, 9%, and you've got 100 in the Sakura. One, you're going to have a real climbing, able to take from the climb segment and to the finish line, which makes it really, really close as well, I think. 36.4k
200 meters.
200 meters. It's super short. Now, our team competition is in play. There are 7 teams in category 6 in our women's standard category. The teams with 3, well, that is the Royal Ascent team. Teams with 4 riders, the Cycle Chicks Outcast, the Kitty Hawk Racing Moonpaw, Kitty Hawk Racing Skyclaw, the Level Phoenix squad, but the 2 teams with 5 riders in, Level Cycling Warriors, Johnson Limbago, Samuel Chalbois and Kirchner, and the Tour de Friends with Barco and Sarasu. So big squads in those 2 teams. It's time. Italy final. Here we go. Let's hit Japan.
As they head out of the start pen, the 32 riders on the start sheets in category 6, and it was Tour de France last month who took the team classification here. Can they do it again? If you look at the riders on form this month, for me, the Cycle Chicks Outcasts and Kitty Hawk Racing Skyclaw are the 2 teams who could well give them a run for their money today. Sudi Bio has taken a first and a third. She's part and parcel of that Cycle Chicks Outcast squad. Almansori took a brilliant 5th place last week on the endurance climb. Quapp and Bremner are there as well, and never discount those 2. They will be there or thereabouts. The Kitty Hawk Racing Skyclaw squad, well, Jaskalainen's had 2 thirds and a 4th. Smithson's had 2 seconds. That's all going to be about their 3rd counter, whether that's Jessica Hamilton or Manon Holtman. Navarez has had a 4th. Sarasuk has had a 5th. They're part and parcel of the Tour de France squad. Barco, Solazano and Agudelo complete that squad, and all of those riders in the mix here, and they will all be there or thereabouts as well. This is all going to be about time gaps today in category 6 in this team competition. Than we saw last week.
Well, correct there. That you've got riders are going to be closer together, but we're also already seeing this group break here.
Yeah.
We're at 1.1k, and there's some real dialing on the front here in Category 6. And although the big gradient kick comes in, and it's coming in, already we're seeing it hit quite early. We're still seeing riders not giving up behind, because that gap is not going out.
Yeah.
They're still on screen. It's 3 riders at the moment, just distance.
There's a number of things going on here. Fast start to get the rolling pack up to pace really, really quickly. Because and this really is a than either of the two is like half kilometers to riders start pen on the 2 categorized climbs. There's only 306 meters of climbing overall. The rest course kilometers. So it is a flat draftable course today. Drafting is going to be key, particularly to keep your energy reserves in place for that final climb, because it does top 15% in places, and you are going to need some bang for your buck when you get there. But at the moment, this pack rolling strongly. There is indeed a long tail now on this. They've gone up and over the first bump, as I called it, in the road. Now there is a long transition flat section with a downhill on it before they get to the 10-kilometer marker. So pretty much from 2 kilometers to 10 kilometers is either flat or downhill.
I'm really interested to see how it rises, and this is fast. Later races have fast racing, but I think the way it's going at the moment, maybe we're going to break the trend in the racing. We'll dive back in now. No, Emma's got some stats in, some numbers in on that race, but we need to move on because we're already on to our second category to take to race start. The Black Panther squad are one of 4 teams of 4, along with the team Rep Power, the Velocity Vipers, and the Watts women's squad. Our big team of 5 riders, though, are the Phoenix squad: Tijeros, Lloyd, Kokkonen, Joymare, and Ferron. Let's go racing. Here we go. Category 5 up and out from the start pen.
Well, they are indeed. And can I just say, Katie Adkins in the mix here, say happy birthday. It was her birthday this week. Always love to, you go well around your birthday, expecting her to race well today. But of course, no pressure, Katie. For me, the Black Panthers took the win in the team competition last month. Wilhelm has had a 4th and a 5th this month. So Valencia, Zugala and Montoya part and parcel of that squad. I think this is probably a really open team competition today. Velocity Vipers, I think, should go well. Sonnerson's had a 4th, Restrepo's had a 2nd and a 5th. Marshall and Hoyas are in there. They should go well. The Watt women, Loxley, Vink, Warren and Idzik. Idzik's had a 2nd and a 3rd. Phoenix, Ferrens had a 2nd. Team Arprea Power, Arias has had a 5th. So every single counting squad with more than 3 riders in has had a rider who has podiumed in the top 5 this month. This is a really open competition for me today in category 5. The team competition is one to watch.
Let's see who's going to take away that team prize. Quick reminder, if you are new to the Sunday Race Club, or maybe if you've forgotten in the last month that the exact makeup of our team competition. Team competition, 3 riders time to count, 5 riders, the maximum number that you are allowed. The times of your 3 fastest riders added together, the fastest team time, taking top spot, the second fastest taking second, and so on, with 17 prizes on offer in each of our 6 race categories. The prizes identical in the men's and women's races. riders up and away. We're onto this climb again and again, Emma. We are starting to see this break early. To say that this is a relatively flat course at 306 meters, we are seeing breaks and we are seeing these splits. You can see this here in category 6. There's 5, if not more, distinct groups here. The lead group just going through our sprint there at 4.3k. That's the Kyoto sprint, and Hamilton doing what Hamilton does.
Well, at last count, we had 18 riders when we were last in with category 6 in the front group. Musa Al-Mansouri was in 19th position, and I think she was trying to close the gap down. I'm not sure whether she has, and it may be that one other rider has joined her, but Hamilton is definitely resplendent in that green skin suit, doing it on the front of the group as well. So Hamilton really strong as ever in the category 6 race sprint competition, but Limbaga, Holtman, Kirchner, Hadjuk, Samuel, Jaskalainen, all in the mix in that lead group. Kirchner is there as well. So is Limbaga. So looking forward to a great race. But as I said, for me today, this is one about losing riders off the back of the group. And every time you do, that group going into the final climb is smaller.
So the riders at the moment making the way up this climb here in category 5. Joe May, the rider that we are in with at the moment, and run. Senate squad with as well. Tajeros in here as well. Kekkonen is in with at the moment. Really got strength in depth. We're in with Novelin Kekkonen in person on the left of our screens here. And you can see already the pace has halted up and clearly focused on making sure she stays in with this group. Just going over the top summit of that first initial bump on the way through. We're just hitting that 2K before we get into the descent downwards here, and the gap behind Emma. I mean, we've got Alesa just at 3 seconds, but then it's you've got riders at 1 minute and 3 minutes.
Yeah, Chizikowicz is off the back of the group, and I wonder whether that happened at the start, but it does mean that category 5 pack has not shed as many riders as the category 6. They've only lost 3 riders since the start.
So that's categories 5 and 6 away. Let's move on to category 4, our next race category. 2 teams of 3 here. That's the Pedal Queens and the Blitz Babes. Now we've got 3 teams of 4. Gear Geeks, the Gear Goddesses, and the Speed Busters. 1 team of 5, though, with that full complement of riders. That's the Pedals on Fire squad. Alze, Lopez, Ko, Kong, and Horner. That is going to be a real force to be reckoned with. But remember, it's all about that strength in depth. How good is your third counting rider? Do all your 3 best riders make it to that finish line in that leading group? Time to go racing in category 4 on our May monthly final. Category 4 riders in those red jerseys away from the start pen, going underneath the cherry blossom, if I'm not much mistaken, and heading across and taking the right and left chicane that brings them out towards the course proper.
Well, 27 riders on the start sheets in category 4 today. And I think this team competition should be good, but not because there's one rider in every team who's had a top 5, because there are a lot of riders in here who have done really well this month. So the Blitz Babes, Latrigla has had a 3rd and a 5th. Kawazuska and Goodall are always strong. The Gear Geeks, Majuska has come up from category 5. Hadlock has had a 1st and a 2nd. Ellis has had a 4th. Melissa Simpkin joins them in terms of the Gear Goddesses. They could go well. In fact, they are one of mine to watch. The other one I think is to watch is the Gear Goddesses. So the Gear Geeks, the Gear Goddesses. Van Rossum has had a 2nd, and I speculated last week, because on the endurance climb she was taking it a little bit more easy. Normal target this week. She's got a great sprint on her, and well, I think she could be one to watch for the podium today. Catherine Tompkinson is there. Rebecca Johnson's had a 4th place. She could go well on that final climb. Rosa Herrera is in the mix as well. The Pedal Queens, Holweiler's had a 2nd, but DeGracia and Schultz are strong. Pedals on Fire, Alzat's had a 5th place. You never know how they are going to go. Katerina Ko, I think, might be one to watch in the final sprint if she's there. And the Speedbusters, they took 2nd place in the team competition last month. Krasova's had a 4th. But to be honest, a little bit like category 5, don't discount anybody. it shows you the strength and depth and the spread across the field, when I say that, because if you take a look, so category 4, 3 different winners over 3 different qualifying races, and 11 riders over those 3 qualifying races who had top 5s, bearing in mind that the maximum number of riders who could have had top 5s is 15, 11 out of a possible 15. That shows to me the strength and depth and the of ability in this group.
Such as we've seen that more and more and more. And I'm just thinking about how big the race fields are. I mean, this is a big race field. It's a final, and we've still got big race fields in here. One of the things that has changed is if you don't complete your 2 qualifying rides, you can still take part in the finals, but you can't take part as a member of a team. So previously, you had to do 2 qualifying rides to get in to the finals, full stop. And now the restriction basically means you can't join a team, which of course is where the riders want to be because they want that team prize money.
And can I tell you, it has made a difference. And this is the first time in the women's race. Really, it's a riders, the women's race.
And that's what we're looking people out and racing as possible. Please do make sure you jump on board. It is first qualifier next week. A great time. Qualify in June, but before we get there, we've got to get to the end of the May monthly finals.
And can I say, particularly if you're thinking about joining that $1 Million Championships in August,
you got to get your racing in.
Get everything works, how the other riders ride the platform, and get the practice in. How the other riders ride the platform and get the practice in.
We do see time and time again riders coming in thinking that they are the best thing since sliced bread in racing, and then they come on board and they get a rude awakening. Just like any discipline,
sliced bread is not nice.
Have to get yourself in. Well, it is if you can't bother cutting the bread. That you have to get used to every discipline, and every race is different. Now let's move on from our first 3 categories into the second half of the race category fields. So this is the category 3 race fields. We've got 5 teams of 4: the Cinnamon Bun race team, the Diamonds race team, Profita Rolling, the Quad Collective, and the Wanderers. But we have 1 team of 5 with numbers like Liliana Silva, Randy G, and Valentina Disegna, the 5 riders representing the group better. They are going to be hitting the roads of Japan. Each rider coming from a different nation: Colombia, Portugal, United States, Brazil, and Italy, represented in that group better squad. Will they be the group better, or will they be the victors at the end? Well, they've got that numerical superiority. They have to now make it count out on the roads. They're out. Big group of riders here. Emma, one of our bigger race fields here today. Yes. Category 3 sometimes for me falls into this sort of no man's land where you've got your standard category 6 and you move up, and then category 3 almost it's just sitting below category 2, and then you've got your elite category 1. It sometimes falls in that no man's land, whereas riders, because there seems to be a lot of progression in and a lot of progression out in both directions.
There is.
It's almost a transitory category.
It's really,
as riders move up and then come back down again.
That was a good piece of analysis.
Careful, you're not the only person who can do statistics and analysis in this room.
It actually is really true. But what you've also got to remember is, I think, category 3 and category 2, the boundaries are really tight on this. There's not a huge amount of wiggle room on those boundaries because the levels and how the categorization works is just, I mean, it really does work. And I think category 3 shows us that, because time and time again, we see such close racing in category 3. Now, the team competition, let's just touch on that, because, well, for me, I think today this is looking for who is going to beat the Diamond squad. So the Diamond squad, Nielsen's had 2 fifths, Kasani's had a 3rd, McAlpine's had a 3rd, CC Olska has come up from category 4. that everybody there has put in strong performances this month. The Cinnamon Bun race team, Lethbridge has had a second and a fourth, but look at this, they're dialing it on the front at the moment already. This is category 4, and they really are motoring. The attack is on, and this is the sprint here. The question is, are they going to go straight on through? No, this is straight up. That was about the sprint, and Gina Van Rossum goes into green.
So Gina Van Rossum just taking that from Latriglia, then Majeska, Hyde and Hadlock in category 4. Category 5 are being through, and it is the birthday girl itself around the birthday. Katie Atkins taking the first sprint from Demi Atkins, and then Dani Gerardo Montoya and Maria Jose Zabala. But all the times very similar in those. And then, of course, we did see category 6 going through earlier on, and they've been through that sprint, big sprint time now. Category 6 by I think that's going to be it's not, it's Limbargo who's got the fastest time there from Barker, Bremner, Quap and
Well, going back to category 3, you can see the pack here up that first climb, and you can see the difference here between the in categories and category 3. Category 3 have not shed anybody. We were talking about how tight the definition of this racing category is, and that is absolutely proved. So Bergin on the front, Miros, Desenia, Altamarino, Montoya, Ciciolca, Sanchez, Miller, Esler, Altamarino, Salgado, all in the mix. And I tell you something, they are all going to be in the mix for a long time on this course today, I think, unless we see something really strong kick off on the Sakura climb. And the team competition, I was talking about Lethbridge, second and a fourth, new to the Sunday Race Club. Cinnamon Bun race team, she's with Nyquist, Shanks and McKay.
Great
squad.
That
is a phenomenal squad. You're echoing my thoughts exactly there. What can they do against the Diamonds, the La Groupette? They are the well, they're not the only squad. They're one of 2 squads who have not had a top 5 this month. Desenia is in there. She's part and parcel of that La Gruppetta squad. Profiterolling, they were part and parcel of the mix last week. Miros has had a first and a fourth. She's a strong rider. Miller, Vasquez and Daniel in there. Stefani Sanchez has had a fifth of the quad collective. Bergin, Salgado and Briggs. They could knock on the door today. The Wanderers took second place in the team competition last month, but none of those riders have had a top 5 position. And I say that, but you don't necessarily have to have a top 5 position to be in the winning team. It's all about that time.
And a top 5 position in previous races this month is not always indicative of what we're going to see on this particular course. Although early on in the month we did have the course that basically has kept us on our toes. Not the endurance climb, the fast racing previous to that. I mean, we saw Belgium, and that's in some ways very similar with some very short kicks, just more of them. So I think it would be interesting to see. Well, if we look back at the Belgium racing this month and who was on form in our categories, in category 3, Moroz, I think,
Montgomery, Kasani, Pruitt, Nielsen.
All riders you would not discount from being up here today.
No, not
That's
at all.
for sure. Now we're in with Emily Nyquist, who is on the left of your screen in person, the avatar on the right hand side, keeping inside that main group there, just making sure not losing any distance and not a split over that sort of part of that climb and then down into the descent here. We're at 3.5k, so we're working our way down into Water's first sprint, that Kyoto sprint of 4 kilometers in category 3. Category 4, well, they're at 6.8 kilometers. Category 5 at 9.8 kilometers. And category 6 at 11.8 kilometers.
Category 6 are well and truly on that climb now. In fact, they are, you can see the group at the front. So Sudubayo, Schalbois, Gurney, Smithson, Jaskalainen and Samuel, all in that front group, and not surprised by any of those names. They are the strong riders in there. Solozano is in there as well. You know, and you can see they're now coming towards the top of the climb. It's around 5.3%, and the stretch on the group. For me, this is about now who can work in the groups behind to close back down, because pretty much now they've got from the top of the climb at 12.5 kilometres to the 34 kilometre marker. It's flat or downhill, there is the opportunity over that 20 plus kilometres to close down gaps if the groups work together.
We'll have to see if that closes down. Just taking a quick acknowledgement there. Valentina Disegna, the rider that we saw on our screens just not too long ago, looking pretty cool, calm and collected there. Goes through the sprint, takes the fastest sprint time. Not sure whether she looks quite so cool, calm and collected after that sprint. I hope not, because that was, if that
it's
is
strong
so,
effort.
that is a heck of an effort to put down without breaking pace or breaking sweat. That is for sure. Now, Angie Solano here in category 6, starting to open a little bit of a gap from Gwenny, Samuel Chalbois, Sarasu in there. Agadella, it's a big pack behind. Solazano, though, that gap is opening 4 seconds.
Well,
it's not going to be decisive, but this has got to be for the point.
She's going for the point. She's going for the climbing competition overall, because that climbing competition again is done on fastest time. 2 climbs today. This one here, the Sakura climb, and then the Dragon's Nest climb at the end. And just by picking up those extra points today and ensuring she pushes away from the group, will put her in strong stead to take that overall competition. And it is important. It might just be one extra climb, but I'll tell you something, Sudabayo is coming, because Sudabayo also wants that time. She wants to try and see. She's going to do it. You know, she's going to come up onto the back wheel of Solazano. She's going to go up and over the top. Solazano's response is too late here for that. And you can see, look at the cadence lift. Oh, 119 revs per minute. Amy Sudabayo does something that I talk all the time to my live coaching groups about, that you can pick up the cadence and use it well.
Yep. Having that cadence, having that fluidity, that suplex really, really counts here. And you can see that Sudabayo there just taking a deep breath. Great timing as well. That was one of the things. Solazano went early. She'd gone at about 250 meters to go there into the top of the climb. And then it levels and just rises again. And that gives, comes over the crest and puts the power on the flat to build up that speed, who hasn't expended too much energy early. Points here. So going over the top of the climb, Sudabayo in a top spot, taking 5 points. Solazano taking 4, Smithson taking 3, Shalbar taking 2, and Agadella taking 1.
It is indeed, and you can see quickly on to the descent as we drop into again the next group away.
So we have one team of 3. That's Pruitt, Dix, for the powerful girls. We've got 4 teams of 4. The Antipodean Racing team, the Racing Rockets team, the Velocity Vikings team, and the Watts team, but 3 teams of 5. The core squad, Van Hove, Rur, the Gonzalez, Hakkinen, Kalman, and Field. The Globetrotter squad with Paulson, Wagner, Prado, Jaramillo, and Vittori. And Team Full Gas, Van der Vliet, Karamani, Manshadi, and Denton. 3 squads of 5, Emma. They've got full volume there. They've gone for the biggest number that you can put in there. 8 in addition. That's the biggest number of teams per category. Category 2 is going to be even tougher than it normally is, and it's always tough.
Yeah, it is indeed. And Category 2 is the largest race field today, with 36 riders on the start sheets. And take a look at that. They have rolled, and they have rolled strongly and quickly out of that start pen. This is just littered. I'm going to littered with talent, and the team competition is going to be so good. The core squad took it last time in which month are we now? In April, because we're now in May. But the competition is going to be strong. Team Full Gas are one to watch, I think. Jenny X had a 3rd and a 5th. Katrina Karamani's had 2 seconds. Manshandi, Denton, and Van der Vliet round out that squad. The Antipodean Racing team, Samara Shepherd's had a 4th. Sylvia Goria's had a 2nd. Katie Banerjee and Kate Tridden. Tridden will go well on this course today. It's just her sort of thing. The Globetrotters, Dana Wagner's had a 4th, Natalie Yaramillo's had a 5th, Vittori, Prado and Paulson round out that squad. They are also on my list to watch today.
So who will have that power? Who's going to have that kick? Only 2 riders in this race field, not in teams this month. And that is really good to see the riders getting themselves together and getting those teams sorted. With 8 teams, though, it does mean that one team home did, and it does put the pressure on right the way through all of our races, because as we go through the team prizes, the prize for first place is bigger than that for second, then for third, and so on all the way through. So all the teams need to keep racing all the way in to the finish.
Well, Category 2 absolutely dialing it here. They're already on the climb. So quick out of that start pen. And you can see the push coming on the front here. We're towards the back of the group at the moment. Rhiannon Denton, Lorena Beltran, really pushing and squeezing on here. They don't want to get gapped behind at all. The drive is coming on the front, but Samara Shepherd, Carolina Lennonen, Maria Thompson, Amelia Van Hove, all in the group. The group is stretched at the moment, but it is nobody, I think, is in danger at the moment. They're all very capable of closing this down. Pack. The climb is very soon to be over. It's short and it's sharp. It's not a categorized climb, and it's around 400-500 meters at around 4%. The pack now starting to concertina together, and you can see the stretch across the road indicating that the speed and pace of the riders all have a very similar ability, and you can see they are tapping up this climb. They're dancing on those pedals around high 5s to early 6 watt per kilo. The class of this category 2 field, just splendid. So the category 2 pack now for the day. They're coming towards the 2 kilometre marker. They've now got a transition towards the Kyoto Spring. A lot of today absolutely pan flat, and being able to sit in the draft and conserve energy is going to be what a lot of riders are thinking about. Someone's got to put their nose out in the wind. The question is going to be whom. Is it who or whom? That's a good question as well.
From the last century. There you are.
Well, you know, good literature transcends time. Oh, we got one rider really just off the back here.
Yes, for them, they are.
That is tolling.
It is indeed tolling.
And tell you something who it is. It's Amelia Van Hove. Now, Van
surprising.
Hove took the win on the endurance climb last week, so that is surprising.
Now, let's dive across to our elite category, our last race category, who are going to leave the race pens today. Teams of 3, the Cat 1 Outcast, Flensky, Hug, and Penner. We've got the Watt sisters with Angstrom, Vanshaw, and Brooke. Teams of 4, well, there's 3 of those. We've got Supernova with Felt, Tomasi, Kokolowitz, and Giovanni. The Sweat Sensations, Guerra, Fua, Bruni, and Mayer. And the Breakaways, Alberg, Gallegos, Bjarhead, and Larson. One team of 5 out of our 6 teams. That's Ablock International, Kristen Korczynski, Lisa Manson, Maria Holcroft, Kate McCarthy, and Mika Soderstrom. They are your elite team riders, and every single rider is in a team. An amazing race field, an amazing set of teams. It's going to be a real battle. This is our last race, starting our women's race here today in Japan on our 36.4 kilometer race route with 306 meters of climbing. Category 1 are away. Emma, I'm really looking forward to seeing how this unfolds.
Well, it's going to unfold before us, and I can't wait. So Giovanni leads them out of the start pen. Tomasi and Holdcroft are there as well. And, well, Ablock International took the team competition from the Sweat Sensations last month. Is it going to be reversed? How is it going to play out today? This is going to be so interesting, because that normal long climb domination, the battles we've seen between McCarthy and Guerra et al. On those long climbs, they've got 1.8 kilometers at the final, at the end of this race to do that. Are some of the other teams going to play around here? Are the team tactics going to dominate this race? And let's see what these riders do, because this could be so exciting. Outlook International, Kristen Kolczynski's had a 4th and 2/5 this month. Holdcroft's had a 2nd and a 3rd. McCarthy's taken 2 wins. So 3 of those riders dominant. Hermansen and Soderstrom riding really well as well. Tomasi from the Supernova squad, she's taken a 4th place this month. But the Sweat Sensations, Guerra's had a 1st, a 2nd and a 3rd. Fua's had a 4th and a 5th. And Mel Bruni has had a 3rd place. She's also done the Ironman Lanzarote as well this month. So all credit to her. So the team competition could well be decisive today in how this plays out as a course and who takes the win overall, because this could go one of two ways. We could see the pack roll a very long way, pretty much to the 34.4 kilometre marker, and then this category 1 race play out over the final 2 kilometres of this race today in an eyeballs out, fire breathing finale on the Dragon's Nest. But we could see the team tactics be executed earlier on in an attempt to stop that from happening.
I think with the course being relatively punchy and less draggy and less opportunities, that you have to make the most of every single opportunity. And that's why I'm expecting to see fireworks pretty much from the gun in category 1. They've got the be able to race this full disc with ease. With ease. They should be able to race this entire distance in its entirety at category 1, because these are the best in the world. They do. And this is a course that lets you race. There's no survival. There's no just getting through it. There's no dragging yourself over a 15k climb to then drop down the other side. This is all about being able to nail it from end to end.
Okay, so I'm just, I love the word ease.
Yes.
Because we have disease.
They should race this with ease.
Ease.
Yep.
It's an interesting little word. Technically, the definition of ease is absence of difficulty or effort.
Yep.
The category 1 women are not going to race this course without effort.
They should be able to race it. I'm not saying the racing is effortless. I'm saying that they should be able to race it with ease rather than just be in survival mode. It's a very fine difference, but it is a very important difference.
There's a fine line going on here.
It is a fine line, but it's a really, really critical line when you watch the racing in action. And that racing ability of category 1, I would be, if I were them, I would be looking at every opportunity to make this hard.
Well, not at the moment. They're currently having a zone 1, zone 2 ride.
Well, they've just gone over the top of the climb and they've made it look easy.
Effortless.
Pretty much.
Well, I'll tell you something. Colquitt Square, Brooke Filensky.
I'm sure it's not. I'm sure it's anything
not.
But.
Hog. It doesn't. Come on. We all know it doesn't get easier. You just go faster. Bruni, Bjarhead, Soderstrom. They are all in here and riding so strongly and comfortably at the moment. I mean, Sophie Giovanni, currently 126 watts. Her heart rate's 146 and dropping. She's currently zone 1, zone 2. And how do I know that? Well, because you can see Sophie Giovanni's name was lit up in blue, which meant that the zone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bar that's underneath the top right-hand corner map, you can see it is highlighted as to where the particular rider we are looking at is on that graphic. So there you go, Camilla Miros at the moment on the climb, zone 5, zone 6. So it tells you the effort that individual rider is putting out at the point in time we are with them.
So this is the run for the archway, the polka dot archway that signifies the end of our first segmented climb. Points available 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. At the moment, it's Lethbridge who is leading this out. Sanchez is coming at speed. Will she do enough to go over the top? She hasn't. So Lethbridge is going to take top points at the moment for the Cinnamon Bun Race team. It's Lethbridge from Sanchez, then McAlpine, Walkenhurst, Kasani. They're your point scorers on climb number 1 in category 3. Category 4 have been over the top on the way through. Rebecca Johnson scoring 5 points. Tanya Howeiler 4. Lam Kong taking 3 points. Hannah Goodall taking 2 points. The riders going in and through. Katie Atkins in category 5 taking 5 points from Amy Loxley taking 4. Sonnerson taking 3. Idzik taking 2. And Zulaga taking 1 point on the way through. Really interesting. That first climb really showing who can climb. And remember, this climb is the same distance as the end climb.
Well, and what's interesting is that category 3 pack, 24 riders in contention after that climb.
How many? Say again?
24.
24 riders still in contention after our first categorised climb, the summit of which comes at 12.5k. And even with my appalling maths, I know that is over a third of the race distance done, with just one long downhill and flat into our final climb.
Well, I can tell you, this is a Category 1 pack coming into the sprint. We've just had one rider go off the back of the group deliberately, I would say. Now, we've got a rider here, Falensky. She's launched herself, literally. But it was not Falensky who'd gone off the back of the group and laid back. So it's going to be interesting to see whether anybody else takes a sprint run through. But at the moment, Falensky comes through the Kyoto sprint, absolutely nailing it on the front of the pack. Nobody behind, I don't think, is going to be pressing for that top spot and that green skin suit. Bridget Falensky, I think if I did the Addy-Ups,
The Addy-Ups?
The Addy-Ups.
The Addy-Ups.
The Addy-Ups.
That sounds like
we
something
would
you get for
see
your
her
birthday.
as the most dominant sprinter in the women's peloton. Well, Bridget Falensky in Category 1 takes the sprint for the outcast. Jenny Eck takes the sprint in Category 2. Valentina Desenya, Category 3. Gina Van Rossum, Category 4. Katie Adkins in Category 5. And Jessica Hamilton, who for me would be Bridget Falensky's competition on that Addy-Up section, takes the sprint in Category 6.
Okay. Bridget Falensky took away top spot with the fastest time. If you add all these categories together, and no cheating, Emma, whereabouts was the next, how far down through the list is the next Category 1 rider, the next fastest? I'll give you a clue. It's Elisa Haag, who was the second fastest Category 1
I think
rider.
probably about 57th.
Well, that's not a bad estimation. I can't even call that a guess. 62nd.
Oh, come on, that was
fastest
not
time.
bad, was it?
That's pretty good. That's like
you know
within
what?
10%.
Do you know how I did that?
Go on.
I clocked the average that rolling out through, and then estimated where it would come out in the category races.
Other maths people are available, but I'd recommend Emma. Okay, let's go to our next sprint. Gina Van Rossum in the sprint jersey going through the Tokyo sprint here. This is the first of 2 Tokyo sprints. And at the moment, you can see Van Rossum is being put up against it. Latriga goes over the top here, and Latriga goes through. She is going to take away the fastest time. I think just going to do a double check there. She does.
She was second to Van Rossum last time, and this time Van Rossum is second to Latriga.
So the moment on the way through, subject of course to those times potentially changing. That second sprint really interesting. Katie Adkins on form clearly because she's got 2 sprint wins in Category 5 now. We in Category 6, Rachel Hooker second to Jessica Hamilton. Hamilton doing that business, so Emma's Addy-Ups are going to be a little more simple, or maybe a little more complicated, because Hamilton definitely challenging Falensky for the overall. That's some homework for Emma. Clearly, she's just set herself. Well done. As we move on. No.
I like a bit of homework.
Yeah, just any homework but maths for me, please.
Extra study.
I bet you were the one with the apple at the front for the teacher, on the front desk, giving the apple to the teacher at school.
Early in life? Definitely not.
Oh, okay. You were the one that causing trouble at the back.
I don't know. I was probably somewhere in between.
Oh, okay. Bit like my
later
racing,
in life.
Bit like my bike racing, really.
later in life, I just got addicted to reading.
Okay, let's take a look back in at Category 1. We're in with Bridget Falensky, our sprint. Absolutely. The rider whose dominance in this sprint, I think, puts people off now.
Well, do you know what?
In terms of sprinting, because why would you race against her when she's so good?
Well, to test yourself. But can I just say, we talk about Queen of the Mountains. Bridget Falensky is Queen of the Sprints.
Yeah, I would go with that.
There we go. So McCarthy, Giovanni, Tomasi, Kolkowitz, Bruni, Falensky, Brooke, all in the mix here. Nelly Larson is there. Catherine Fuhr is there. The pack is rolling nice and comfortably in Category 2. And I say nice and comfortably. We're in with Karolina Kolkowitz at the moment. You can see on that screen, she's currently in Zone 1 at 104 watts, 98. Even I'm in Zone 1 at 98 watts. So for me, I would still be rolling around in Zone 1 on the back. I could stay with this pack, you know. It's the first time I've probably ever
Yeah.
said I can stay with the Category 1 pack.
But that is only because they went over the climb, and I'm not so sure that would have happened on the way up the
Oh, they'd have
climb
dropped me on the climb.
first part of the that little bump that takes you into the Kyoto Sprint. Now, talking of climbs, here we are, 10.9k in, so 100 meters in to the first of our categorized climbs, the Sakura climb for Category 2. This is our penultimate category as you move up from Category 6 to 1. And as you can see, still a big pack going into the climb. And it's a steppy climb. This is my kind of climb. Really breaks riders' rhythms up.
Yeah.
So steep level, steep level, steep level. And it even does that as you go into the banner at the top. And the smart riders will have been watching what's happened, I think, in Category 6, 5, 4, and 3 to see how that has played out as well. Because it's very difficult to pre-race this. It's you've had the chance to see how riders approach that finish to get these points at the top of the climb. And it's not just the points, is it? I mean, there's a prize at the end. Each segment has its own prize.
It does indeed. And I think what you need to do, I often say, sometimes you need to treat the top of the climb like the finish of the race, particularly when you're racing in Belgium. And almost you have to do these on these little steps because it's a big effort, then a small amount of recovery, a big effort and a small amount of recovery. And those micro rests, absolutely crucial on climbs like these. And Dana Davidson is the rider at the front of the pack here. Sarah Lundin, Samara Shepherd, Sylvia Gurria, Jennifer Gothlander is in the mix here as well in this Category 2 pack. Now, she's a strong sprinter, and these types of climbs absolutely suit a sprinter as well as a climber. So not surprised to see her in there.
We both took a breath at the same time to say almost, I think, possibly, potentially the same thing here. Now, one rider who I'm really looking forward to seeing what she does today is going to be Samara Shepherd. Now, I don't think that's just because it's been the resumption of the Mountain Bike World Cup season with some fantastic racing in Nova Mesta, the venue I know well. It's a fantastic venue and a fantastic course. Yeah, no spoilers.
No spoilers for that short track yesterday. Have
a watch of the short track. And I have to say, today, you're going to have to be able to sprint like the winners of that race could sprint and put the power down. And on the short climbs as well, because in some ways it's a very similar course here today. Okay, it's a bit longer, but you've got short power bursts that are going to be required here. On the gas, off the gas, on the gas, off the gas. That's going to be really, really key. And Shepherd, I think, has got that explosivity. She's got that repeat effort. The ability to put the repeat effort in. She's on the front of this group at the moment and really is kicking down hard. Joanna Kalman right in the mix here. Van Hove is here. Van der Vliet, Nordin in as well. Now,
we know those mountain bike course designers and those event organisers put the most technical features after a huge climb so that you are at exhaustion before you go into the most technical part of the course. So the ability to recover quickly is absolutely a key skill in mountain biking. Works brilliantly as well in esports.
I think it does. And I think that's why we see mountain bikers often being one of those riders who can come back in. Now, this change of rhythm clearly is not good for everybody because whilst there's a big group at the front here, behind it is starting to tail off. Ones and twos being distanced behind the group. They're coming up to this is the run into towards the points section here. It's flattened out. The speed has picked up here. And you can see at the moment 37 kilometers per hour. It's almost a sprint in to go into the climb here. Van der Vliet ahead of Shepherd. I think as they go through Gotland and London on the wheels, but this is going to be about positioning. I think Samara Shepherd came from further back there, so while she wasn't the first rider over the line, she had made the fastest time up that climb. So climb times on the Sakura climb, the fastest time going to Samara Shepherd in Category 2 with 5 points, Van der Vliet with 4 points, Gothlander with 3, Kalman with 2, and London with 1.
Yeah, look at that. Fabulous. And let's not forget Femke you talked about Samara Shepherd being a mountain biker. Femke van der Vliet is a rower, another phenomenal endurance sport. And this, what I love is the fact that we see riders and racers who are elite athletes in multiple disciplines. And I just love the fact that they are here and mixing it and just showing. We see Formula One drivers cycling as their training sport,
Oh,
and
yeah.
racing as their training sport, and along with triathlon as well. So you see this mix of multiple sports and the elite nature of them, and just those different skill sets all coming together. And cycling esports is just a wealth of knowledge, skill, and raceability. It's fabulous.
It is. It is. And I think this course is going to really, really show some differences in how the riders approach it from the different backgrounds. And I mean, we see Mel Bruni. I mean, she's a great example, isn't she? I mean, she's a triathlete who is a world class, world champion. You know, triathlete. She's a world class triathlete and duathlete, and she comes here and races and puts in world class performances, but would approach it, I'm sure, differently to a rider who is more sprint based or pure power based, where the duathlon and the triathlon is more endurance based. So I think it's very interesting to see how it plays out. Our riders in category one, well, they're going on to the first of our categorized climbing tests.
And we have the entire pack that left the start pen all still together at this point in this race. So at the 10.8 kilometre marker, as they go underneath the start banner, that polka dot banner signifying the first categorised climb today, the entire category one race field is still together.
It is indeed. Here they go. They're going on to the climb. Let's watch these early sections as they come up. Before we do anything else, I think we have to keep an eye on these riders. The power is going down, the pace is down, big push on the front here, and you can see the response. The riders are doing 7 watts per kilo, just trying to stay on the wheels. This is the chance to break it up. And Tiffany Penner really sprinting over that section into the next section of the climb. This is an interesting move by Tiffany Penner. Penner, who races for the Category 1 Outcast, along with Valinsky and Haag, really putting the pressure down. Valinsky, her teammate, actually is the rider on the back, who is now starting to feel the pace here, but the response has come, and it is the triathlete Merle Bruni. Triathlete esports rider, an all-round superstar, I think has to be said, who is right on those wheels. Interesting, though, the big hitters in terms of wins, McCarthy and Guerra are both marking the moves at the moment and haven't yet gone to the front, but I think that could change as we come over the crest of this summit.
Well, we are indeed, but Penner is still dialing it on here. This is an absolute commitment from Tiffany Penner here. This is her part of the race. This is obviously a very deliberate tactic and strategy here, but Penner is absolutely attacking this. Bruni, McCarthy, Engstrom, Mayer, Fua, all behind in the pack. They don't look to be chasing or responding, but Tiffany Penner at the moment is putting a gap in here to the rest of the best. Penner, let's not forget, the Canadian champion. And I'll tell you something, she's got so much power.
She has it, and I think that power really is so useful when you come onto a course like this with these big kicks, with the kick and the rest, that repeatability being key. Penny, we know, can do that. That strength training that she puts in on a regular basis really is going to play out here. But you can see just being reabsorbed by this bunch. For me, we're going to be able to tell when the pace really goes crazy hot, whether it's a potential race-winning move that people recognize as that. When you see a response from McCarthy or Guerra, if it's not them on the front, that is going to be really, really key. We're coming up now. This is the big push into that flat section, into the banner. This is really, really key. They are dropping riders, Emma, but they've not made a decisive move yet.
No, we've got 1 or 2 riders. Well, 2 riders dropped off of the back, and we've got a further 2 riders that you can see who are in trouble at the moment and need to squeeze on those pedals to close that gap back down. We're coming towards the top of the climb. It could be possible for those 2 to get back on, depending upon what this front group do when they hit the descent. If they sit up, those 2 riders likely to get back on. If they continue to push, highly unlikely that they will, but be ahead. Tomasi, Holdcroft, Fua, McCarthy, Guerra, Velt, Kulczynski, all in this leading group. It is a huge group at the moment. 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. I reckon there's got to be 16, 18 riders still in the group, but Bruni Fua now going. Fua's put in a massive dig. She wants the fastest time up the climb. She wants to take the polka dot skin suit. Oh, yes, she does.
And I think that was a move from the back to the front of the group. And she continues to push here at just under 5 watts per kilo. Response from Tomasi and Holcroft here as we see the fastest riders up that Sakura climb in each of our race categories. Sudabayo in category 6, Atkins in category 5, Johnson in category 4, Lethbridge in category 3, Shepherd in category 2. And we've just seen Catherine Fur go over the top of that climb. 369 watts, 6.15 watts per kilo for the 3 minutes 34 that it took to ascend the climb. The times, unlike the sprints, definitely reflecting each of the race categories and our expectations of them. Did you expect to see Fua taking that polka dot skin suit at that point?
It was a lovely little move.
It was a great move, wasn't it? And I think for me, Catherine Fur is a rider who wants the racing to be hard, but these punchy climbs maybe just suiting her that little bit more. Back in with category 6 of the furthest riders down the road. They are at 29.5k, so they are well on their way down into towards the final climb, as are category 5. So categories 5 and category 6 fast approaching the finish. Well, all the riders fast approaching the finish, just some a little further out than others. A fast race here today. 52 minutes, 55 seconds of racing for category 6 at the moment. Jaskalainen really is putting in a great rider here. Nicely sat in here. Jessica Hamilton, though. Is this the day we see Jessica Hamilton take away a win on the top?
No.
Because she's got that sprint power. She's got that sprint speed.
Oh, I just don't know. Do you know? If think if the final climb was shorter, I think if the final climb was 6, 7, 800 meters, maybe. Oh, can she prove me wrong? Come on, Jessica, prove
she's made
me
it
wrong.
over the top.
Prove me wrong today.
I mean, she's got 2 wins on the Sunday Race Club so far, proving that she can do it. You've got the Daria Ascend race that she took.
Which is a multi-stepped climb, that one.
Yeah. And you've got the Four Cities route, qualifier number 1 in January of this year. She took the win. I think that this is. I think it's possible for her to take it if she gets the pacing right, and if they take it steadier at the lower sections. Now, Brooke Samuel, I think at the moment is deciding that is not going to happen because she's just putting the pressure on in category 6, bottom right-hand side of your screen, and bottom left-hand side of your screen. That's category 5 leaders. Top right-hand side of your screen, category 4 leading bunch, and the category 3 leading bunch on the top left-hand side of your screen. As you can see, there are riders moving through all of these groups. Fantastic to see how they are racing and how fast they're moving through the course here in Japan. And these are our riders who set off first category 6, 5, 4, and 3. They were followed by category 2 and category 1. This is going to be a really, really fast at the finish. This is going to be all about getting the position and the pacing of that final climb. Let's remind you about the final climb. 1.8 kilometers long from the 34.4k to 36.2 kilometer mark. 9% average gradient, 9.1% average gradient. It climbs at 171 meters. Now, to give you an indication and a comparison, the Sakura climb has got less than half of the ascent in what is only 100 meters less.
Now, I can tell you, the women haven't raced this course before. This is the very first time the women have been on the Dragon's Nest course. The men have, however, and that Dragon's Nest climb, which comes at the end of the race today for the women, the men do twice.
I'll give you a profile.
Early on, the Dragon's Nest climb kicks to 15%.
Profile
then
now.
It kicks towards 14%. Let's take a little look at that. Well, going back into the course in Japan, you can see through the Kyoto sprint, up the Sakura climb, then the long transition through the double Tokyo sprint, and then the drop into the Dragon's Nest climb, 171 meters, and you can see just how steep it is. Ironically, the midsection is actually the steepest, even though it may not look like it, but it kicks to 15% in the first part, 14% in the top part, the average gradient 9.1%. It is a stinger in the tail.
And those steep sections actually come before the almost two rests, the two steps on the way through, don't they? So it kicks in and then it levels, kicks in and then it levels. And that, for me, that's really going to hurt the legs. And if you are on the limit, hitting that super steep section, that could be the straw that breaks camel's back, and that could take you out. You lose time.
You could ride the first two sections really, really dominantly, and then you could blow to the sake of a minute in that final, 600 meters?
Yeah, I'm remembering, of course, that we've got 200 meters between the end of the segment and that finish line. It's going to be really critical. The first riders to get there should be our Category 6 leading group at the moment. Amy Sudabayo proving that these short climbs suits her. She took the time and the points for the fastest rider up there. She'll be in the hunt for the overall as well.
9
as the climbing segment. Really going to be critical. 9 riders in here. There are no more sprints. Jessica Hamilton has sewn up the green skin suit competition on the way through. So that's her with those points and with the prizes. But can she make it a win here today on the top of the climb of the Dragon's Nest climb? Category 5. Little bit of a different story in some ways, but for me, still a similar number of riders there.
Well, there's more in Category 5. There's 9 riders in Category 6. I would go there's around 15 in Category 5 on the left-hand side of your screen. It's a bigger pack, but they are doing exactly what Category 6 are doing at the moment, which is having a steady run in. So you can see Jessica Hamilton, who we're in within the green skin suit on the right-hand side of your screen. She's currently Zone 1, Zone 2 riding. These groups are in recovery mode at the moment because, well, that fire is going to be unleashed when we hit the Dragon's Nest climb. Fire-breathing dragons, legs on fire. That's what it's going to be like today. But in Category 6, they are going to get there first. Hamilton, Sudabayo, Charlebois, Jaskalainen, Gurney, all in that group. Look at them, steady pacing at the moment. Hamilton just squeezing to get back on. Category 5, well, Vink, Loxley, Giraldo, Ferron, Sudabayo, Zabala, they're all in the mix.
They are indeed. Why would you go hard, though? This is so key. Getting as much oxygen in, reoxygenating the bloodstream, making sure that you got rid of as much lactic acid as possible, that you're going to hit this climb in as good shape as possible. If you go on the front, you want to go twice as fast. You need to go with 4 times as much power on the flat because it's all about aerodynamics. Your watts per kilo are pretty much irrelevant on the flat. It is all about power. And yet when you hit the climbs, that is when you're going to be pushing it right to the limit. Nobody's going to be able to open up that gap. You get more advantage in the draft than you do by putting twice the power down, trying to go off the front. Sit in the group. Make sure you rest. Make sure you recover. It's coming. And it's coming quickly. Just round this right-hand bend, we're going to go over the wooden bridge, and then we are going to go on to the climb. You can see the climb banner coming on the right-hand side of your screen. Category 6 coming into the finale of May on the Sunday Race Club. They are on their way very shortly indeed. Here we go. Underneath the banner we go. We're back on to the islands. We're back on to the climb. This is a Dragon's Nest climb, and this is where we see who's climbing legs respond after that flat section, and it may well be that we are seeing our sprint winner going out of the back here. He's going to need to respond quickly. Samuel leading them up from Sarasu Smith and Shelbar Gurney right in the line. Agadello are there as well. Samuel holding position, but Liz Smithson at the moment is tapping out a rhythm at 4 watts per kilo, looking to drop the rider side. It's a yellow corner. Yeah, shoes, gloves, and hat, indicating Smithson. Samuel with the black shoes and the white helmet on her right-hand side just comes alongside, but Smithson is responding here and is going to push back up into the front. Sarasu's there, as is Sudabayo, the polka dot skin suit wearer. We're on our way. Remember, this is only 1.8k to the top of the segment, 2k from the bottom of the climb to the end of the race. This is really, really critical. 34.8k now covered. This is 10 kilometers an hour. It shows you just how steep this is. 8% at the moment, but we've got those kicks coming.
3 down, 6 still to go. So Smithson and Sudibayo, those two have been battling all month. Gurney, Samuel, Sarasuk, Jaskalainen, they are all in the mix at the moment. 6 riders now in category 6. Oh, there's some symmetry there. But it is Smithson, Sudibayo and Gurney, the 3 riders at the front who are now starting to distance Samuel, Sarasuk and Jaskalainen. Brooke Samuel pushing on those pedals, trying to bring it back together. It's currently 14% at the moment under the wheels of these riders. The resistance is strong. Smithson, Gurney and Sudibayo, the 3 riders climbing strongly. They're coming up to the 35-kilometre marker. They've got 1.4k to go.
This is making life difficult in the back of this group. The front of the group are breaking it up here. Smithson, Gurney, Sudibayo holding position. Samuel, the first rider behind in that chase. Then you can see Jaskalainen and Sarasuk Shalbois on the way. They're on the climb. They're the leaders in category 6. They're at 35 kilometres of our 36.4 kilometre race route. 34.2k in and only 200 meters from the start of the climb. Category 5 are charging through at the moment. This is still a big group. They are picking up riders in category 6 as well on the flat sections here, but they are soon to shed those, I'm sure, when we hit the climb. Over the bridge they go. Here comes the banner in category 5, but category 6, they're continuing to push. Now we're onto the steep section, 13% at the moment, and it's starting to take its toll. Gurney is 2 seconds clear of Sudibayo and Smithson. You can see it on your screen. It looks like you could just reach out and take a bar or a gel from the back pocket of Gurney if you were Sudibayo and Smithson, but that's not the case because it's a climb, because it's so steep. It reduces the physical distance between the avatars. However, it really does make it hard if you are behind because you think you're closer than you are. Gurney, Sudibayo, Smithson breaking clear, leading 3 riders. Who's going to take away the May final at the moment? Gurney is holding position and she has got the best place to be on the front here. Sudibayo looks to close it down as the gradient eases to 7.5%, but it's going to kick again. Here it goes. 7, 8, 9%. It's going to keep kicking here. And Gurney's onto that steep section. Sudibayo drops back behind Smithson now as they hit 10% right-hand side of your screen. As on the left-hand side, category 5.
Well, category 5 are absolutely flying up the early stages of the climb. Katie Adkins and Emma Sonnerson doing a sterling job riding away. Adkins has the polka dot skin suit and the sprint skin suit. She has been so dominant today. The big pack behind are still locked together, and Arias is in there. Loxley and Idzik, they are at 8 seconds. The question is, are they leaving something in the bag for later? Because this is a long, steep, sharp climb, and as we've seen with category 6 on the right hand side of your screen, well, it is doing damage to the riders' legs. Category 6, Gurney, Smithson and Sudibayo locked in second and third at 6 seconds. Jaskalainen is the rider further back. Adkins and Sonnerson in category 5 are moving away from the field. The gap now back to Amy Loxley. 12 seconds. The pack are riding strongly though, and that is going to be an absolute battle for the team competition and the lower places today.
And if you are out there watching this live whilst you're racing, remember every single second is going to count in this team competition here today. And even if you're not the third count, if you're maybe the fourth or the fifth, you never know what will happen on the way through because this is such a steep finish. You can lose time. Look at the gap that's open between Gurney and Smithson. It was not long ago. That was 1-2 seconds. It's 7 seconds now between first and second place in category 6. In category 5, Atkins and Sonnerson, they are putting big distance in 17 seconds has been made already on the climb in category 5. And this really is sorting out the groups. Those who have got the pace, the power, the speed, and can climb are using this climb to their advantage. Gurney is going to come around this left and turn into the right, knowing that she's got a out of sight, out of mind situation between her, Smithson, and Sudabayo. They are back at 7 seconds. Jaskalainen at 26 as they go on the climb. Category 5 working well on the climb. The 2 leaders on their category 4 are approaching, as are category 3. They're coming in at speed, but look at the pace of Anne-Marie Guiney.
Yeah, she's doing a sterling job at the moment in category 6. I'm taking a little giggle because I think category 4 and category 3, well, those two groups may well come together on the climb today. But I can tell you something, Guerney is not going to come together with anybody at the moment. She's continuing to climb, but climbing strongly behind her, Liz Smithson has dropped Amy Sudabayo. Look at the power coming out of Smithson. She has saved something to the end of the climb. And we said the end of the climb would be absolutely key here today. She's got 500 meters still to go, and Guerney's now picked up the pace. So Guerney has noted Smithson coming in fast. The gap is now 6 seconds. Well, it is still long enough now that Guerney has noticed the move from Smithson. What can Smithson do? They've got 400 meters to go.
So Guerney is the winner of qualifying race number 2 in category 6. So the rider who took the victory then is the rider on the front at the moment, Liz Smithson. Her best position so far has been second on the Sunday Race Club. She's looking to close the gap down on Guerney. Guerney's having to respond to Smithson's push. Sudabayo, I think, now has waved goodbye to the leading 2, but never say never here on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club, because this is an absolute blast as the riders are on the climb. If we take a look down into category 3, left-hand side of your screen, Helen McKay has gone for a big long move here. She's getting some distance before she hits the climb. She's got 6 seconds sliding room, or a 6-second lead. She could open even further.
Well, I'll tell you something. She's part and parcel of that Cinnamon Bun race team with Lethbridge, Nyquist and Shanks. That could be a move for the win today.
It could be a move. It's going to help that team competition if she can hold that gap. Category 5, Katie Atkins has opened the gap to Sonnerson. That's now a 3-second gap in category 5 between first and second place. Guerney has responded to the move by Smithson. She's opened the gap back up again. It's gone to 10 seconds. But remember, from the polka dot banner to the finish line are 200 meters of climbing. This is going to be really, really key. You're going to see these riders on the way up here. Dragon's Nest climb. Here we go. Underneath the polka dot banner goes Guerney. She's going to have the fastest time. All these riders came into the climb together. She's going to go up and through. So she's going to get the fastest time. Will she have done enough to take away the points from Amy Sudabayo in the overall? I think Smithson has got more points in the overall competition, and Smithson has gone into that polka dot jersey, just waiting to see if Sudabayo has gone underneath. We're going to have to wait about another 15 seconds or so to see if that's going to be the case as they come in. But look at the pace, look at the power, and look at the time it's running out. You can see the UCI banner around this left-hand turn. It comes into sight early, but you've then got this long, long left-hand bend. It feels like it goes on forever when you're climbing this climb. But at the moment, Smithson chasing Guerney. Guerney is on her way. She's raced 3 Sunday race, so 2 Sunday race clubs. Race number 1, she was 15th. She took the win in qualifier race number 2.
Belgium.
She's going to take away the win here today. It is Anne-Marie Guerney who goes underneath the banner, race winner in category 6 on the May monthly final in the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club.
Well, Liz Smithson comes underneath the line for second place today. Amy Sudabayo is going to take third. Kasia Jaskalainen is battling with Dominique Charlebois for fourth place today. This is going to be an interesting long run to the line.
So Amy, yes, Sudabayo on her way up round this left-hand turn. Here comes underneath the line. She's going to make it a podium spot, a third place, and it looks like Sudabayo has done enough to take away the win in the climb competition as well. So great racing in Category 6. Our first 3 riders in the race are in and through underneath that UCI banner on the Dragon's Nest climb. As we look down, you can see the dragon's eggs either side of the course here, with a dragon's tail wrapped around over the top of our race route, as sinuous as the climb is. And at the moment, it is going to take a lot of guile for Sonnerson to creep up on Adkins and to take away a win here, because Katie Adkins is on form.
Told you go well on your birthday week.
Sprint winner. Will she be the climbs winner? She's currently holding the maximum points. She should have the fastest time. She's gone underneath the banner first. They came in together. And that means that she should have kept both the green skin suit and the polka dot skin suit. Can she make it yellow as well and get in that triptych of skin suits? We will have to find out. Will she be hanging all 3 on her virtual avatar's trophy wall, or will we see Sonnerson pull something super special out here? It's going to take a lot of doing. Sonnerson can't relax because she's got Loxley behind her as well, but I don't think anybody's going to touch Katie Adkins now. Absolutely flying her way up the climb here, and Adkins looking like this surely is going to be hers. She comes around the left-hand bend here, and what a ride by Katie Adkins. She's taken a win in the Sunday Race Club in Belgium. She repeats that Belgian and Japan double winning race finish as she goes underneath the finish, your winner in Category 5 from Emma Sonnerson. So Katie Adkins takes the win. Emma Sonnerson takes 2nd place. As behind, we're going to drop in with the leaders in Category 4 at the moment. And they are on the way well up this climb. Lamkong, Krasova, and Elos with a little bit of a gap, but Hyde just rejoins them. And you can just see Goodall, Simkin as well in the mix. This is not all
6
over
riders
by any stretch of imagination. And I think, Emma, for me, this is all about getting the pacing right. So they will have seen what's happened further up, and those gaps yo-yoing, they've got less sliding room.
Well, they do indeed have less sliding room, and the 6 riders here well matched. Hannah Goodall, Katarina Krausnova, Lam Kong, Geneva Elos, all right at the front of this group. Claudia Hyde is in here as well. It is just packed. Melissa Simpkin is the rider just in trouble at the moment. But take a look further back. The rest of the Category 4 pack are not far behind. Rebecca Johnson is leading the charge from the group behind Demi. Atkins is the Category 5 rider in the mix that you can see. But I tell you something, that skin suit, the polka dot skin suit, is on its way.
It is, and we know that those riders who wear those polka dot skin suits have earned that by taking the points on the climbs. This is Rebecca Johnson, the winner of our first categorized climb, the Sakura climb, similar distance, but not quite as steep, making a way back onto this group, get a little bit of draft advantage. They're 15 kilometers an hour at the moment. Category 4 on the way up into towards our finish, a little bit further down the slopes. Category 3 on the left-hand side of your screen. We've got Lethbridge in that polka dot skin suit of the climb leader ahead of Walkenhurst, Sanchez, and Mroz and McAlpine and Co. So Category 4 not all over yet by any stretch of the imagination.
Neither's Category 3.
Everything is going to come down to who gets the pacing right now. Krasova and Kong are together at the moment. We're looking to see whether Johnson has held on. I don't think she's going to score points here in the climbs competition. This could hand this to Lam Kong here, and that will mean that Lam Kong will be taking away our climb skin suit, but this could be a sprint here. Katarina Krasova on the front, Kong in 2nd position. The finish line is coming, and it's coming quickly here. Krasova goes, but Kong sprints over the top. She goes on the right-hand side. Krasova answers her at 8 watts per kilo here. It's Kong versus Krasova. Kong goes over the line. That looked like that was by about half a wheel. Lam Kong takes away the win in the category from Krasova in Category 4. What a battle there in Category 4 with Kong ahead of Krasova, and then it was Goodall immediately behind with Ellis and Simkin rounding out the top 5.
Well, Category 3, it's Lethbridge pushing on here. She's not got far to go. She's got Sanchez, Walkenhurst, Miros all on her wheel. 4 riders coming into the finish together. This is going to be a sprint to the line like we've just seen in Category 4. Miros has now picked up the mantle from Lethbridge. Lethbridge responds.
And look at this now. Can Lethbridge come back over the top? Morozzi's leading this to the line. Big sprint comes from Lethbridge. It's going to be too late, I think. It is. Camilla Moroz sprints away through. She takes green skin suit and the yellow skin suit, with Lethbridge taking the polka dot skin suit there. So, fantastic sprint finish coming in. And it is a confectionery top 2 with profiterolling. Moroz taking the win from Lethbridge of the Cinnamon Bun race team. I love both of those confectionaries equally, I have to say. Interesting behind, Quad Collective comes in. Sanchez in 3rd place. The Wanderers comes in 4th. And Wendy McAlpine of the Diamonds comes in 5th. In fact, the top 5 are all different teams. We've then got the Cinnamon Bun race team in 6th with Heather Shanks. Nielsen of the Diamonds in 7th. But Nyquist comes in for the Cinnamon Bun race team in 8th position.
Can I tell you, the Cinnamon Bun race team have taken it from the Diamond squad by 24 seconds.
Amazing ride.
No, or should I say 0.24 of a second?
No, you should say 24
seconds.
24.579.
Yes, you're correct.
Occasionally happens with things with numbers in.
It does.
Occasionally. Let's give you a quick roundup of some of our teams as we await our next riders coming in to the climb at the moment. Category 6. I'm just going to do a double check here with Emma. I make it that it is the Kitty Hawk Racing team. Kitty Hawk Racing with Liz Smithson in. So that is going to be...
That's the Kitty Hawk Racing Skyclaws team.
Indeed. Quick tip to the teams: put your differentiator between your main squad in early in your name, so it's visible on screen. It makes our life marginally easier, and we can get that name out there. So Kitty Hawk Racing Skyclaw come through from the Cycle Chicks Outcast Level Cycling Warriors coming in behind, and then the Tour de France team come through. Our next squads, the Category 5 race. What Women from Tina Repper Power from Vipers, from Black Panthers from Phoenix. In Category 4, the Speedbusters team, taking it from the Gear Geeks, Blitz Blaze and Gear Goddesses. And then in Category 2, Cinnamon Bun race team from Diamonds, from Profiterol in the Quad Collective and the Wanderers. Right, let's go to Category 2. They're on to the climb. Big bunch all together, still together, even though they went through that battle just a little while ago. Dana Davidson leading at the moment. Samara Shepherd
Look at
in the mix.
Size of that group.
It's like getting a pack of cards, throwing them up in the air and trying to pick one card out before it hits the floor. That is what we're going to be looking at here on this climb. This is about getting the pace right now. Samara Shepherd leading up here. Adega Mashandi, Paulson, Garea Gottelander in here. Jared Miller, Denton in as well. Samara Shepherd is our race leader as she kicks her way up here. Can she break this group? Can she stretch them out enough? It's going to take, I think, multiple riders on the front, though, to get this down to a small group. This is going to be super tough on the finish because there's so many riders coming in at the start of the climb.
Well, I think there's at least 12 riders still in contention in that Category 2 race. They're coming
12,
up.
Not 22.
Well, I'll tell you something.
They are quick.
Well, it is. They are moving. They are moving strongly up the climb at the moment. They've got 1.4 kilometres to go to sort this out. But the question is, will it come to a sprint like the other categories we have seen? I would not discount that because Jennifer Gothlander has got a massive kick on her. Shepherd, Denton, Garea, Gonzalez, Rua. We know she can lay the watts down as well. She regularly wins the sprint competition in Category 2, but it's Gothlander and Shepherd, the two riders moving on here.
If I was Samara Shepherd, I'm not sure I want to take Jennifer Gothlander to a sprint because we know how phenomenal she is with that big kick behind. Garea looking to close the gap down with Denton, Gonzalez, Rodega, Mashandi. I think Calman in here. Gonzalez Rudd, this is a course that could well suit her as well.
Yep.
Phenomenal kick, phenomenal sprint, great climber, but doesn't want the super long climbs at the moment. In touch, Van Hove really is, for me, biding her time here. She was so strong over the last couple of races, but this time out,
she's a great climber as well.
She is, but look at this. The Gothlander with the big punch, Samara Shepherd, those repeated efforts, it's suiting them.
Well, it is. Now, Category 1 have just popped up on our screen. They're at the 32.7 kilometre marker. They've had a steady race if they're still that equidistant away from Category 2 as they were at the start. But you can see the pack is rolling strongly. We've got Soderstrom, Colquitt, Giovanni, Kolczynski, Ulberg, Larson, Guerra, Holdcroft, all in the mix. Lizzie Brooke is at the front. Kristen Kolczynski, Merle Bruni, Van Shaw. Yes, you are correct. Nearly everybody who started in Category 1 is in the Category 1 pack.
So we're back in with Category 2, first kilometre covered of this climb, and in the first kilometre, our two leaders, Samara Shepherd and Jennifer Gothlander, have opened 4 seconds in the first kilometre from that big group that were all together. But on behind, Garea looking to close it down, maybe just using this section where it levels out a little. The gradient drops down to 3-4%. It's going to drop just 2.7. I think they're at the lowest. As it goes around there, it's going to eat and then kick again. And our leaders now on to that steep section, but they're holding the time gap at the moment. Garea, Van Hove, Kalman, Gonzalez, Ruhr all chasing hard. This is going to be key here. This is all going to be about power. This is all going to be about pace, and it's all about pacing that power, getting it down at the right time, responding when people come at you. Play that psychological game. Shepherd puts in another dig here at 6.5 watts per kilo, 6.7, and Gothlander has to respond to this. This is going to be key here. Gotthlander's at 5 watts per kilo. She's losing time to Shepherd. Shepherd starting to break clear here. Are we going to see Shepherd solo to a race win? 35.9 coming up for 36 kilometres. Race to this 36.4 kilometre race route at the moment. Samara Shepherd with the gap to Gothlander. She's got to time this right. She's gone early. There's still a lot of distance to go. It doesn't sound a lot, 400 metres, but my goodness, it's steep.
It is indeed. It is exceptionally steep. Over 10% at the moment for the Category 2 riders towards the top of the climb. As the Category 1 riders on the left-hand side of your screen roll in to the base of the climb. Merle Bruni is at the front. She's being marked by Gabby Guerra, Mika Soderstrom, Nellie Larson, Kate McCarthy, Lizzie Brooke, Kristen Kolczynski. The climb is underway in Category 1. The only way is up, all the way to the top.
It's up. It's just how up is your up. That's going to be key. A lot of it is very vertiginous indeed. It is a very steep climb. This is all about making sure you've got the power for those sections, and Samara Shepherd has done that in style. 10 seconds now, the gap back to Gothlander, 200 metres to go. She's going to go underneath the Dragon's Nest climb. She scored maximum points in the climbs competition, took away the segment prize for our first segment climb, the Sakura climb. She goes underneath the polka dot banner of the Dragon Nest climb number 2 with the fastest time, adding that segment prize and sealing the overall win in the climbs competition. Samara Shepherd is showing no signs of easing off the pace. Gothlander behind is trying to hold off the chase. Van Hove, Kalman and co are coming at Gothlander hard, and they are coming fast, but no one's going to touch Samara Shepherd. Samara Shepherd comes to the line. She's going to take away the win in Category 2 in our May monthly final. She takes away the yellow skin suit as race winner and the polka dot skin suit in Category 2 as our climbs leader. It's going to be Gothlander who holds on from Van Hove to take second place ahead of Van Hove's third. Kalman's going to take fourth. It's going to be Garea in fifth.
Wow. So the Category 2 race decided really on that third and final section of the climb today. In back with Category 1, they're at 35.1 kilometres, 1.3 kilometres to go here. Holcroft, Kolchinsky, Guerra, Fua, Alberg, look at that pack. They're wide across the road. They are climbing up and out of the saddle. They are seriously in the mix. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 riders as we come around the corner here. Absolutely flying on the climb, but it is indeed Kate McCarthy who is pushing on now and taking the lead here. Maria Holdcroft coming to the fore with her. Gabby Guerra. Camilla Alberg has been riding so strongly all month. She is right in the mix. This is suiting her down to the ground at the moment. Catherine Fua is wearing the polka dot skin suit as they sweep around the corners, and McCarthy drives on.
So McCarthy doing what McCarthy does best, attacking to break clear of everybody else. You'll want to sell her to victory, but Holcroft is coming after her. She's the nearest rider of that chasing group. They will have known that the attack was inevitable from McCarthy coming onto the climb. It was not a case of if, it was a case of when. Well, the when has come, and they now need to answer that and get back to McCarthy and then be able to go over the top. The gap is not huge. 4 seconds. We've seen these gaps though extend in other race categories. People have got pulled back. It's got close, but surely McCarthy has got enough in the tank to stay clear. What can these 3 riders do about it? It is Holcroft, Guerra, and Bruni chasing behind Kolchinsky, Fur, and Alberg. Well, they are not out of it yet. It's a matter of a second or 2 between each of those riders.
It is, and I'll tell you something, Kristen Kolchinsky has already been breaking her own hill climb records outdoors in the hill climb season so far in the USA. Guerra is pushing on. Bruni and Holdcroft are there too. McCarthy is riding, and she's riding strongly. She's extending that gap now. They've gone into the next steep section, and it's interesting to see how she's pacing this climb. 14.3% under the wheels of McCarthy at the moment, and she is driving strongly. She's really using these steep sections to drive away from the rest of the group. She's taking a little bit of respite as the pace comes off. That's where the group behind closed the gap down last time as the gradient dropped. McCarthy took a break. She took a big gulp of air and filled those lungs to continue the climb. The rest of them squeezed on the pedals and tried to close it down. It's Holdcroft at the moment who is holding McCarthy at 7 seconds. Bruni, Guerra, Kolchinsky, those 3 riders locked together at the moment.
So McCarthy with the gap, with the ability, with the time and the presence of mind to ease, to recover, to take a breath, to use those little micro recoveries to be able to kick again. She's going to come up to the polka dot banner. Catherine Fua took the fastest time on climb number 1. McCarthy's going to take the fastest time on climb number 2. She'll take away that segment prize, but when all settles and all the riders are through the banner, who will be taking away the polka dot jersey overall? We have to see. In fact, Maria Holcroft at the moment has scored enough points at the moment that may be the case. She's going to take that away. She's got a gap on Bruni. She's got a gap on Guerra. Bruni and Guerra are together behind, but the world champion comes through the mist, through the dragon's breath, and out. She's on fire. She has climbed out of the nest. She takes away the win here today on the May monthly final. Mary Kate McCarthy, your winner in Category 1. And behind, oh, look at this. Holcroft comes through in a 2nd place. It's going to be Guerra who comes through for 3rd and Bruni in 4th. Guerra able to just distance Bruni as they came into the line. Catherine Fua is going to come through in 5th position. She's just ahead of Kristen Kolchinsky in 6th. And it looks to me like 7th place could well be Alberg. Tomasi's not that far behind, though.
Well, no, she's not at all, and the climbing is really strong today. So Camilla Alberg comes underneath the banner today for what will be 7th place in the Category 1 race. Francesca Tomasi comes through for 8th. Lane Biarhead doing a great ride there for 9th place, and rounding out the top 10, Nicole Mayer. Now, the team's competition.
Let me give you, first of all, the teams in Category 2. Category 2 winning team are the core team, Van Hove, Kalman, Hakkinen and Field, ahead of the Antipodean Racing Team in second, Full Gas in third, Globetrotters in fourth, and the Vikings in fifth. On your screen are the results of the individual race in Category 1. What that means in terms of the team competition, well, Emma?
Well, I can tell you, Ablock International take the win from the Sweat Sensations by 16 seconds. And they've done it by doing this. Kate McCarthy takes the win today, 58 minutes, 36 seconds, Ablock International. Maria Holdcroft takes second place. She too is McCarthy's teammate on that squad. Guerra from the Sweat Sensations, Bruni from the Sweat Sensations, and Fua from the Sweat Sensations. They take third, fourth, and fifth today. But Kristen Kolczynski coming in just 30 seconds down in sixth place is enough for Ablock International to take the win.
We
today.
need to go for break. We are cutting the stream.
To all of our race winners. Now, if you haven't done already, please do subscribe to the MyWhoosh YouTube channel. Although we normally have a single stream between the women's and the men's, today we're going to have 2 streams. So please do make sure you subscribe. You'll then get notified when we go live with the men's race, which is coming up very shortly. Emma and myself will be taking a brief break. I hope you will join us for that men's race. Thank you for watching. Thank you to our riders for keeping us entertained. A big thank you to the production team behind the scenes. Make sure that you get on your bike, jump on MyWhoosh, and get riding with us when we move on in the races in June. But from Emma Martin and myself, Matt Payne, stay safe. We'll see you soon. Make sure you subscribe so you get notified just when it is for the men's race.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.